Kismet here, heading to a, not really a signing. I'm going to go do an I-9 verification for a new hire for a company. I usually meet them, since I'm a mobile notary, I don't actually have a office set up all the time. But I'm going to go meet them at a Panera, which you can do that as well, and fill out the Section 2 of the I-9. Okay, so this is the Form I-9, and since I did a appointment today for a Form I-9 where I was at that appointment in the capacity of an authorized representative and not a notary, I would like to do a quick video about how to complete these. So Section 1 is for the employee. It's the employee information of the attestation for the Form I-9. In this section, the applicant would fill in all of this, everything that you see in blue. So their last name would go here, first name, middle initial, other names given, like a maiden name or something like that if the person is married, or if there's no other name, you would enter in not applicable with the simple N/A. The address would go there, apartment number if that exists. If not, you can enter in not applicable or NA, city or town, state, zip, date of birth, and then the social security number is voluntary, considering that the person may have a passport. But if they have a social security number, obviously we want them to enter that information in. The email address, if applicable. If not, enter in NA, telephone number, and then for this section, if the person that you're completing the I-9 for is a citizen of the United States, you'd obviously select box 1, because they're attesting that they're a citizen. If the Section 2 is applicable, a non-citizen national of the United States, you'd see the instructions for that. And then third, lawful permanent resident, they would choose Section 3, if applicable, and then enter in the alien registration number or the USCIS number. Or if they're an alien authorized to work, they would enter in this information. And essentially, the person completing Section 1 would be filling in only one of these 4 sections. If the person is a citizen of the United States and none of the other 3 are going to be applicable, then you need to enter in NA here, and then NA for the other blue sections. Nothing needs to go over here unless it's, nothing needs to go over here in this section. It says do not write in this space. Okay, and then moving on down to the preparer, if a translator was needed, then this section would be applicable. But before I get to that section, I did skip a step here. The person does need to sign here, signature of the employee, and then today's date. Then for the preparer, if there was a preparer that was present or a translator was needed, then you select a preparer and or translator assisted the employee in completing Section 1. In today's I-9 or appointment, that was not applicable, so the applicant completed, I did not use a translator. But if they did, then obviously this section would be applicable. So it tells you here, stop. Employer completes next section. So again, the employer would be filling out Section 2. Now it says employer completes next section, but Section 2 can be applicable for the employer or an authorized representative to review and verify. So in today's appointment, I am in the capacity of an authorized representative, not the employer, and also not a notary in this actual appointment. I'm here as an authorized representative. So in this section, Section 2 is meant for the authorized representative or the employer. So I would be entering in the applicant's last name, first name, middle initial, and citizen/immigration status, and that information will be found up here for whatever was entered, whether we chose Section 1, 2, 3, or 4. So we'd enter in this case, my person who's completing the I-9 was a citizen of the United States. So here we'd enter in section 1, citizen of the United States. And if the person that's completing or needs the I-9 completed, they should have brought with them a form of identification. The forms of identification that are going to be applicable or valid for this actual form are listed on page 3 of this document. So the list of acceptable documents, and all documents must be unexpired, and it must be the actual document, not a copy of the actual form. And then, so this would be all the documents that would be applicable for you to enter into section or list A. So the applicant who needs the I-9 completed could offer you any of these passports, permanent resident card, foreign passport, employee authorization documents, and so on. It tells you up here that list B document needs to, it's for identity, and list C would be for employment authorization. So again, any of the applicable documents for identity would be listed here, such as the driver's license, ID card, school ID, voter's registration. And then list C would be for employment authorization, such as a social security number, certificate of report of birth issued by the Department of State. So we would use either of those documents for list B or C. So if it's a passport, you would enter in the document title as U.S. passport, similar to what they have down here. So U.S. passport. And then you enter in the issuing authority, the document number, and again, you'd be looking to make sure that the expiration date is not expired. And then, you know, any other documents that you might space for would be entered here. For list B, if it were the person's driver's license, you'd list document title, driver's license, issuer's authority, and then the issuing authorities are always going to be on the actual cards themselves. The document number, and again, you're looking for the expiration date to confirm that the document that the person has given you is not expired. And then over here in list C, if expiration is applicable, then you'd put that there, but the Social Security cards typically don't have an expiration on those. And then for additional information, if this section is needed for anything that you've entered it over in these sections, you could actually use them for to enter in additional information. But if nothing additional is needed, you just list in A in this box. Nothing's in this box. For here, you're attesting that you've verified the information that you've listed up here. And here in this blue section where it says the employee's first date of employment, that would be the person's hire date, and you want to use the format that the form is asking you to complete there. So 01, the 14th day, 2023 would go there. And if additional help is needed, you can see instructions for exemption. And then this is going to be your information. Again, I'm here today as an authorized representative, so this would be my signature. I'd enter in today's date in that format, and then I would list not my title as the employer, but as the authorized representative. So I just list authorized representative as my title here. Authorized as my actual title. Go there. My last name, my first name, and then the employer's information would go here. Their name, address, city, state, zip. Section 3 is for re-verifications only or rehires. But today, again, I'm doing this for a new hire, not a rehire or re-verification. So this section is not for me. But if that were applicable, then you need to fill in that information that's down here in blue. Essentially, that's how you complete a Form I-9. I hope you've enjoyed this training.